Hello and welcome to your Passion in Action Summit. This is where we really get around all those strategies of how to get things done with ease and flow. Today, I'm really excited to welcome our next guest, Angie Gensler. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. Welcome, Angie. I'm really excited to have you here today and have you share your expertise and experience with us. I know that you're a very successful entrepreneur. Would you just introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit more about how you came to do what you do?
Absolutely. Yeah. First, thank you so much, Tanya, for having me be a part of this summit. I'm really excited. My name is Angie Gensler, and I blog and share social media and digital marketing tips over on angiegensler.com. And I have not always been a blogger. I actually worked in corporate, and I was a corporate marketer for over 10 years. And I had my master's degree in business and marketing and thought that I was just going to be in this corporate world forever. And then as I continued to kind of rise the ladder and take that next step and keep getting promotions, I found that the job was becoming less fulfilling. And, the more exciting the promotions got, and it seems like, oh, wow, I'm really making it. I'm really doing some great stuff. It actually turned out that I was having less control and feeling like I was making less of an impact on the world and not really making a difference with the work that I was doing day to day. And so I started diving into, coaching and consulting and looking into, okay, what would that look like? And really discovered that I wanted to work with small business owners. And I felt like that's where I could make the true impact and really make a difference in people's lives if I could work with small business owners. And then I discovered that as a mom of 2 kids, that the consulting one-on-one didn't quite work for the lifestyle that I wanted to create. So that's how I got into creating courses and digital products. And I also wanted to create something that was affordable because I kept working with people or trying to work with people on consulting. And I found that they couldn't afford to hire someone to consult them one-on-one. And so I thought, okay, how can I support a small business owner, give them what they really need in a solution that they can afford? And then that's how I came across teaching online courses and ebooks and creating these digital products for business owners.
That sounds really exciting. Now, I know a lot of people have, this picture of, yes, you want to quit corporate because, you're working towards somebody else's agenda. But I loved what you were saying there, whether you're really making an impact and with a difference with the work that you're doing, because I think you can, in a corporate environment, do that if it's really talking to your strengths and who you are and tapping into that. But you weren't feeling that fulfillment despite the fact that you had the income and you were getting the promotions, which just again tells me like money can't buy you that happiness and fulfillment, right?
Gosh, that's so true.
That's a really courageous step that you took to get out there. Now, how long have you actually been doing this whole creating the courses and blogging and just being on your own, having stepped out and taken that leap?
Yeah, so I launched my blog on December 18th of 2016. So it's been almost 2 years. And so I was still working my corporate job for about, I think it was 20 months. And then on April 20th of this year of 2018 was my last day in corporate. So I think it's been 6 months now that I've been, without the corporate job, without the stable corporate income, and I've been doing this full time.
Wow, congratulations. That's
Thank
really
you.
exciting. So now I'd really like to know, stepping out of a corporate job where you had that fixed income every month, and now you're an entrepreneur full time, you're a mom, you're, I'm assuming there's some kind of partnership as well in your life. And the question is, how do you do it all? Because now you don't have all those different departments that are sorting everything out for you. You've got to do it all. And how do you actually get it all done? How are you a mom, an entrepreneur, a partner, a friend, all of those roles that you've got to play?
Yes. Yeah. So that is, I think, the biggest dilemma, particularly facing female entrepreneurs. If you're a mother, there's so many different balls that you have to juggle. But what I found is I really learned to take advantage of time and figure out, at what times am I most productive, and then making sure that I'm maximizing that time. So for me, I am really creative and I work really, really well in the mornings, and my family is all asleep. So I wake up about 5:15 every morning, and that gives me a good 2 hours of focused, solid work that I can really produce and churn out some good quality stuff before everyone wakes up. And I found that those 2 hours of just that focused time when my brain is really at its best, I mean, that to me is almost worth 8 hours of what I was able to do in my corporate job, because, you know, you can really get into it. So tapping into and figuring out when you are the most productive, when your brain is the most creative, I think is so important to really discover that and to learn yourself and your work habits. And then I also found that in the afternoons is when I tend to just, I mean, I'm sure everyone has it where you're sitting at your computer and you find yourself just going from tab to tab to tab. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I have not done a single productive thing in the last 15 minutes. I've just been going from tab to tab to tab. Like, what am I doing? Figure out when those times are, and you'll find that there's like a specific time of day that you tend to do that. And so I discovered that, you know, for me, it's about 2 or 3 o'clock. And then from then on, it's just a waste of time. So I've learned to now switch my work hours so that in the afternoons, that's when I'm really focusing on the time with my kids. And I can have one-on-one time with my daughter, and I can get my son off the bus and spend some time with him when he gets home from school, instead of trying to fight, you know, my natural rhythms and fight the schedules. I just try to work them into life naturally.
I absolutely love that, Angie, because, you know, I've been a big advocate of actually knowing when your energy cycles are, when you're in that creative space, when you're not so creative. And you know, the interesting thing is a lot of people think that first morning slot, you know, what you're talking about, like the 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. sort of thing, is usually for exercise or getting up and getting ready. I personally love doing my mindset work in that time, because the house is quiet and I actually get to think and journal and meditate and all that kind of stuff. But this is actually quite interesting, you saying that your brain is actually quite fresh and you're into it and you actually get 2 hours, solid hours of work done. That's amazing, because you're right. That is worth a lot more than sitting for 4 or 5 hours if you're not being super productive. And I really love what you're saying about the afternoon slot as well. You've actually taken that time to get to know yourself, to say, okay, I've figured out, I've become aware of where this little gap is, that I tend to do the same thing over and over and I'm not productive, and I just stop rather than trying to push through that, right?
Yep. Yeah. And I think so many people, you know, are constantly trying to figure out, like, okay, maybe what's wrong with me? Why am I not productive? Do I need to implement a Pomodoro method? Or, you know, and they research all these different ways to be more productive. And I think those are very helpful. And there's a place for those. But I also think there's so much to just, understanding your body and your rhythms and your creative cycles and fitting, you know, into that.
Absolutely. So what you're basically just saying is get to know yourself, get to know how you work, be aware of all of these other strategies and techniques that you can use. And I would say test them out. But if it doesn't work for you, then that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Just find what works in terms of your rhythm, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how do you balance this all? So, you know, like I said, I would do my sort of mindset work, time out for me in the morning. So where do you find time for that, where you actually balance it all just to have a little bit of time away from everything?
Yep. Gosh, that is a good question, and something I feel like I struggle with daily. Like, there's some days where I'm like, man, I'm killing it, or like weeks on end where I feel like I'm really good at doing the meditating, doing my, you know, my morning affirmations and really focusing on that self-care. And then I have phases where I'm not so good at it. Maybe I'm finishing up a product or working on a launch, and those things go to the wayside. But for me, I have found that those first 5 to 10 minutes in the morning is a really good time where I can just kind of focus myself before I jump into the work. So I have actually on my phone, I have a little MP4 file of some morning affirmations. And right when I wake up, you know, you kind of have the usual routine. You hit the bathroom, you get some water, you go make your coffee, that kind of thing. It's just a 5-minute audio file that I listen to while I'm doing that. And I just have that going, repeating in my head. to get myself in that really positive mindset and kind of set the tone for the day. And then depending on how I'm feeling after that, I may sit down for another 2 to 5 minutes and try and just meditate. And it's short, you know, I have yet to find the time to fit in a 20 to 30 meditation, but you know, 2 to 5 minutes, I've even found, I mean, that can sometimes make all the difference. And then between those two, so listening to that audio file and then a few minutes of just silence, it just gets the creative juices going and it gets me ready for the day. Another thing I found that I've discovered over time is I absolutely cannot check my emails, check my social media, nothing when I first wake up. Like that used to be my thing. My alarm would go off and I would just get out my phone and I'd lay in bed for a while and slowly wake up reading emails, checking social media posts, just doing all that stuff. And I found that it would set a poor tone for the day, because if I got an email that maybe didn't make me all that happy, well, boom, that just set the tone for the whole day. And then as I'm trying to do my meditation, it's just ruminating in my head and I can't get past it. And so I found, and it's still hard, I still struggle with it every day and have to tell myself, like, don't do it. Don't check your email. Like, but it's so hard, but it really has made a huge difference. And it's funny because I used to not believe it when people would say, like, you need to take time out for yourself, with whether it's some sort of morning routine or workout or something, and it creates more space throughout the day for you. I never quite believed that until I started doing it regularly. And it's actually really true. And even if for me, it's sometimes 5-10 minutes, and it helps you kind of set the right tone for the day and set your priorities and help you kind of visualize, how's this day going to go? What are my intentions for the day? What do I have to do and accomplish? What would make it a good day if I accomplish X, Y, Z? So I found that helps as well.
Awesome. I love how you've actually just found your rhythm. And I must say that happened to me this morning. I was half asleep when the alarm went off and I saw there was a message on my phone and I didn't even read it properly, but my mind jumped to a conclusion of what I thought it said. Oh. And immediately I started wondering and thinking, like, what should I do? You know, I went into that sort of work mode, but I'm still half asleep. And, you know, so let's get your day off on not such a great note. So talking about the mindset aspect, how do you keep that resilient mindset that even, you know, on those days when you feel like, oh, I don't feel like the same routine again, or I've got so much to do, how do you get through those times when it's really tough, when you hit your lows, when it's not as easy to, you don't wake up feeling all creative and excited for your business?
You know, so on the days where it's really low, and I've gone through those, especially, you know, in the few short months after quitting my job, I had some days where it was just really low, and I thought, man, what am I doing? Maybe I should go back to corporate. That's what I know. You know, maybe I'm not meant for this. And sometimes, you know, it's like, this is another instance where you kind of need to know yourself and your body, because there were some times where I knew I just need to suck it up and power through. And I have so much on my to-do list, I'm just going to dive into that. But then there were some days where I knew, I'm like, you know what? I am not in a good space. I'm not going to create anything of value today. I am not in the right mindset to even support any small business owners and help them out. So I need to just kind of check out for a couple hours. So I discovered that actually going outside in nature is so cathartic for me. And I think this is for a lot of people, you know, so I would go on a hike and just soak up the sun and breathe in the fresh air. And that a lot of times would reset me. Or I would go play with my kids, like just say, okay, I need to, you know, disconnect, go play with the kids for a bit. And they would, you know, my kids are small, they're real little, so they worship me. And so it's like, you know, you have these two people who just worship you and think you're amazing. And it does kind of actually help. You're like, okay, I got this. I can do this. And I also discovered that it's helpful for me to capture any positive emails, any positive responses, comments, capture them in a place where I can refer back to them later and look back to them. And then that also helps me get into the place where, you know, because as an entrepreneur, you're inevitably going to face those moments of just complete overwhelm, total fear. Like, you're going to have these voices in your head telling you, like, you can't do this, you are failing, what's good, you know, and you have to be able to combat those voices with truths, things that you know to be true. So if you have customers who have emailed you a really positive, you know, something really positive, or told you something that they like about you, read those, keep those somewhere and reread them, and repeat the things in your head that you know to be true, where maybe you're telling yourself, like, I suck at marketing. Well, you could tell yourself the things that you know to be true. Like, okay, well, maybe I think I suck at marketing, but I'm really good at this, and I'm really good at that, and I'm really good at that. Like, so having those truth statements, having affirmations that you can go to and say to yourself over and over, because you almost have to reprogram those negative thoughts in your head that tend to take over from time to time.
So again, it just comes back to getting to know yourself, right? Because you need to know what you are good at, and you need to be able to actually acknowledge that about yourself, because often we like, no, I must be humble, you know,
yes,
about myself, but you need it for those times when these negative things come up and people are like, you know, or you feel you've got challenges that you're facing, or maybe you're feeling rejected, or, you know, things are not always going the way that you want to.
Yep, absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about you said you've got this morning 2-hour slot. How do you keep productive throughout the day? So when you are back at work or into the swing of things, how do you make sure that you get the most out of your time and, you know, get that return on the time that you're putting in?
Yeah. So I manage everything that I need to get done using Asana. So Asana is a really awesome, it's kind of like a to-do list, but a glorified to-do list. And I use that to manage everything that I want to get done for the day. And I also have a recurring task every single day that says set intentions for tomorrow. And it repeats every single day. And so at the end of my work time, I will review that. And then I look at the calendar for the next day. I look at the tasks that I have to do. I look at maybe what still needs to be done. And I kind of reset those priorities and my intentions for each day to figure out, okay, knowing my schedule, knowing what I have going on, what can I reasonably accomplish and produce? What's going to make the biggest impact? Because that's another big piece of it. I think a lot of times as business owners, we put things on the to-do list without analyzing, do these actually truly make sense? I heard someone once reference $100 bills. So you prioritize your tasks. You have $100 bill tasks, which are the things that are going to make the biggest impact on your business. And then $1 bill tasks, which, you know, they're really not going to impact the bottom line. And so that might be stuff like, I can't even think of something right now, but maybe designing an image for an Instagram post. You know, it's just, that's a little task, but maybe it's not going to make this direct result to the bottom line right away. And so I try to also think of all the tasks that I need to accomplish throughout the day and think, okay, if I can accomplish a couple $100 bill tasks a day, I'm good. And seeing them that way helps keep me motivated throughout the day to work on them. So I have those 2 hours in the morning where I power through that kind of work. And then I'll take a break and get the kids ready for school. And then I get back into it for a few more hours till lunch, take a break, have a couple more. So I think another piece of it is not only using Asana to manage the tasks, but working in regular breaks throughout the day. And then I use Brain FM. So it's brain.fm. It's a website where they, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's really strange music and it's supposed to focus your mind and it works like a charm. I mean, I'll turn on Brain FM and put in my earbuds and it's just like, boom, like focused. So.
Wow. That's really interesting.
Brain FM is awesome.
So Angie, I'm hearing you say that so firstly, you know yourself really, really well in terms of when your peak times are for you to perform and focus on your business. You are very clear with your strategy and direction of what you need to get done, and that's where you use Asana as a tool to keep track of that. And I love your intention setting for the next day, so you're always clear on what's coming for the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that's how you stay productive, and then you have these breaks where you're actually connecting to your family and connecting to your time. So it sounds as if you're like really on top of things, and and you really know what's going on, and even taking that time out to say when I'm really not at my peak, that I can step back a little bit and just know myself again. Is there anything like last parting words of wisdom, because you've really shared some nuggets of gold with us just in terms of somebody getting to know themselves and really getting on top of things? Is there any parting words of wisdom that you can share with us just on getting it all done with ease and flow?
Well, I'll share my personal mantra. So my mantra is perseverance, not perfection, is the key to success. And I think that applies with absolutely everything in life, to running your business, to posting on social media, to raising children, just everything. You can apply that to absolutely everything in life. And I have found that to be so true. And you're going to be faced with days as an entrepreneur where you think, this is so hard. Maybe I don't want to do this. Or is it making a difference? Is my business growing? And what I found is in those moments, you really need to remind yourself that, okay, it's about perseverance. It's not about perfection. I just need to keep going forward, keep taking forward movement, keep taking action. And eventually it's going to pay off. I will persevere. So that is my big mantra. So I think that's really key. I think another piece that I didn't really touch on is having a plan. So not only do I use the Asana, but I also have, I can show it to you. I've got a little paper calendar. It's really fancy, right? Right next to my computer. But having a plan, I always plan out 3 months out. I think that's really crucial. Plan out your content, but also planning out your social media content, because there's so many pieces to your business, and there's so much that can get pushed to the wayside and forgotten. And if you have something simple like a social media content calendar and a long form content calendar, things like that, it will just help keep you on track, keep you focused, and help you better structure your time and structure your days.
Absolutely. I love that. You are so inspirational. Thank you, Angie, for sharing these wonderful tips, because I do know that, you make it sound so easy, but I know that it's not always that easy juggling different things, and especially being so new out of corporate, where you basically still finding what the best direction is and how to do it. And the fact that you're keeping going, I love that mantra that you have, the perseverance over perfection. That is amazing, and really something that can help uplift people to say, okay, let's keep going, let's keep trying, because success maybe it's just be around the corner. And it's also about, I suppose, your measurement of success. What do you see as success? And for me, it's seeing someone like you just keep going and celebrating each little milestone as you achieve them. So I believe you've got a free gift that you want to share with our audience. So would you mind sharing a little bit more about what that's about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a free cheat sheet of what to post on social media, and it is 50 social media post ideas. And so I would love to gift that to the audience, because I know that social media is one of those things that tends to just completely overwhelm business owners. And it tends to be, I just don't really have time for that piece, but I know I need that piece. So you kind of get in this conundrum of, well, how do I grow my business on social media while still having time to grow my business? And so this cheat sheet is 50 ideas of what to post. And then they can access that for free. Just head over to angiegensler.com/PIA, and they can download that for free. And then I also have some more resources that I'll send them, some resources for a content calendar, creating images, to really help everyone kind of manage that piece of the business, so then you can focus on the rest of your business.
That sounds amazing. And so I would really like to encourage you guys, everybody watching and participating, just click the link below this video and you'll get access to that amazing free gift. And I mean, Angie, you said you come from a marketing background, right?
Yes.
So you guys are really getting like the experts putting this in your hands for free. So do take advantage of that. Angie, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure chatting to you and hearing how you do it all. I'm sure it's been as inspirational to others as it is to me, and I really just want to thank you for your time and sharing that with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Huge pleasure. All right, guys, thank you for joining us, and we will see you again back here in the Passion in Action Summit. Bye for now.